Welcome, Pulver Solar Nation. Bear with me, I have a bit of a cold, but I did want to go over a little bit of what happened at UFC 168, where Anderson Silva notoriously leg kicked Chris Weidman, the champion. Anderson, for the first time in a long time, I think, 6 years running since he beat Chris Lieben on the Ultimate Fighter finale, snapped his leg. It was on Instagram, it was on Twitter, it was on Facebook. It was on the UFC. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. He actually busted his shin in half, trying to leg kick, threw an inside leg kick at the champion Chris Weidman, and Chris Weidman called it a shin to knee. And it was taught to him by his trainer, Matt Sarah Longo, and he calls it knee to shin. And what it does is really hurt whenever you throw inside leg kicks and it's blocked with the knee as opposed to just checking your leg kick by simply raising your leg. Instead of just simply raising his leg, he raises his leg up to the point and then kind of torques his knee to the right or to the left, depending on which side the leg kick is coming from, and defends the leg kick, deflects the leg kick in that fashion. In that fashion came a devastating TKO finish of Anderson Silva for the second time, by Chris Weidman. Now, I don't expect Chris Weidman to get the respect that he deserves still, because it's still, I thought the first time was a definitive statement that he's better, than Anderson Silva. But Anderson Silva looked better than he did in that fight. In the first fight, Anderson Silva looked better than Chris Weidman. He looked more diverse. He looked more experienced. He looked more. But then again, Joe Rogan said it's a tough place to be in your 10th professional fight. Right? Correct. But he looked more diverse. He looked more in tune. He looked looser. He looked more fluent. He looked all around better to me. Anderson Silva looked better to me than Weidman did. So I thought he definitely deserved the favorite spot coming into the second fight. The second fight, he came in dead serious, no goofing, no flailing the arms. It was just straight, just straight up, let's do this. And the inside leg kick, the first time his shin cracked, the second time it fucking broke, and it was disgusting. The only time I remember that happening ever in UFC history was Corey Hill, and it ended his UFC career. So, I mean, as far as Anderson's the Spider Silva goes, this guy's a legend, but he's almost pushing 40. He's 39 years old, and apparently his rehab's recovering like uber quick. Like Anderson Silva quick. So we could see a comeback from Silva, but here's why I should put his name for Anthony Pettis and I both agree why Anderson Silva should not return to the octagon. What I said about Weidman in the first fight and leading up to the second fight was Weidman is getting better in leaps and bounds, like Superman, gets to leaps and bounds over tall buildings, right? Well, Chris Weidman leaps and bounds in fight after fight after fight. You can see him just looks better and better and better. After every single fight, he just looks that much better, right? Where Anderson Silva has already set the bar way up here. Chris Weidman's down here, but going like this. Leaps and bounds up to Anderson's level, but he's just not quite at Anderson's level as far as skill and technique and putting it all together and making it an MMA spectacle as only the Spider can do, in my humble opinion. Where Pettis and I have come to agree and disagree on, it's pretty much an even plane, is, Pettis said, quote unquote, I hope he doesn't come back, because why? He told a Yahoo Sports Insider, it's because his legacy's already been fulfilled. What's he going to come back to? What's he going to do? Win the belt? He's already done that. Defend the belt? It's already been done. Set records? Already been done. I mean, what's he going to do in the sport that hasn't already been done, that he has already not fulfilled? And it's going to be really hard for any challenger, especially at middleweight, to even come close. To beating those records that Anderson's already set. In other news, Jones versus Glover, technically Glover, I call him Glover. So I'm just going to say Glover Teixeira and John Jones are going to fight for the UFC light heavyweight title. They're actually going to fight. It was set at UFC 169 at one point, then UFC 170, then UFC 171. Now it's set. It's officially set for UFC 172 in Baltimore, Maryland. Now the advantage that Jones has in Baltimore, Maryland, is of course his brother Al Bundy. Can I get it in the frame? Yes, I can. His brother plays for the Ravens, so he's in Ravens territory. The Jones brothers, and even my mother-in-law even said the same thing, that she's actually heard of the Jones brothers, John Jones, and the other two football player Jones. One plays for the Pats, one plays for the Ravens, and one fights for the UFC and held on to the UFC title for the last few years, and he earned it in devastating fashion from a devastating striker and an awesome all-around MMA fighter in Shogun, who he made look like a ridiculous ragdoll in his epic title-winning performance against Shogun. Shogun, of course, lost to Chael Sonnen and come back and beat James Lahuna at the end of 2013 in devastating fashion. Dana White called it the knockout of the century. I called him out on Twitter about it. He tweeted me back that the only other knockout that was better than that would be the WWE. But I think he's forgetting about, I don't know, Silva versus Lieben, Silva versus Weidman, Uriah Hall versus whoever that guy was that fucking got wheel kicked in the face on The Ultimate Fighter. God, there's just so many more knockouts that were much more brutal than that. However, it was a brilliantly timed and brilliantly placed knockout by Shogun Rua and a great comeback from a guy that, a lot of people thought that was on the cutting board. Chop, chop, chop. But, there goes Shogun right back up the ranks, actually defeating Chael Sonnen in the rankings as far as, they're both in the 5 to 10 range, fighting for that top 5 spot. I think Chael Sonnen is much better as a middleweight, but he's in the 205 rankings. In the 205 rankings, it says that number 7 is Mauricio Shogun Rua, number 8 being Chael, the gangster from West Lynn, Oregon, Sonnen, being 8. Now, what I see wrong with this picture, where the fuck do I begin? Number 1 is Sonnen beat Shogun. They fought one time. Sonnen beat Shogun. In the fight that they fought, Sonnen won that fight. So, just from that alone, I would think that, if I was that guy that beat Shogun, I would be severely offended if I wasn't, a notch above him in the rankings. I mean, it just goes without saying that if you beat some guy, you just beat him, let alone the first round, submitted him, dominated the whole first round, then submitted him in that same round. You would want to be above him in the rankings. It just didn't happen for Sonnen. However, he did get beat up pretty hardcore, UFC 167 by Rashad Evans. However, the performances that Shogun's had prior to his knockout of James Lahuna pretty much, make it a level playing field. It's a tough spot, but for Chael Sonnen, I think it should definitely be above Shogun. Effective the 27th of this month, Keith Kaiser will resign his spot from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. This month, Keith Kaiser will no longer be part of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which I think is a good thing. There's always a spot, for someone new, hopefully that will be a slight bit more educated than Keith Kaiser. If only we could get rid of, a few more judges, boxing judges, and get some mixed martial arts judges that really understand, the point of being on your back and strikes thrown on your back and what a submission attempt really is and what it means, what reversals mean, and sweeps really mean, and score the bouts properly. I hate to see more fighters get screwed out of bad decisions because of bad judging. Now, going into 2014, MMA has been extremely popular, in my humble opinion, since 2008 or 9, and I feel it's just time that we don't have any more bad decisions. We don't have any more fuck ups due to judges, and fighters don't have losses on their records due to bad judging. That's my MMA wish for 2014. the Dominator, Dominic Cruz, vacates his belt. He couldn't fight. The dude had a torn ACL. He was out for a year, had bad surgery. I guess the ACL surgery that he had, I guess it went bad. It's in my prior video, so just look back at my library at Dominic Cruz bad surgery. But Dominic Cruz had a bad surgery, so he had an ACL surgery, was in rehab, that went bad, so he had to have another ACL surgery, which took him 2 years out of the cage. He was slated to face Renan Barão, finally, the interim champion, Renan Barão, to solidify, to put these two belts together, champion versus champion, kind of a Nick Diaz versus George St. Pierre. I think only better because they're both UFC champs, and unify these titles. However, it's not going to happen. Renan Barão, healthy as a fucking horse, young as could be, diverse as could be, and dominant as could be, was down and out for this bout, but Dominic Cruz injured his groin. Has let go of the belt, such as George St. Pierre did a couple months back, and he has let go of the belt. Uriah Faber, one of my favorite fighters of all time, and later on here I will give you my top 5 or top 10 best strikers. Due to uniqueness, I'm going to give best and unique, and kind of torque them and morph them into my top 5 or 10. But Renan Barão's up there, and Renan Barão will fight Uriah Faber for the 135 bantamweight title. They fought at UFC 149. Uriah Faber seemed to get outclassed. He just seemed. He got Mike Brown. It seemed like, in the second fight with Mike Brown, WEC, it seemed like he would get the better of Mike Brown if both of his hands were broken. He broke both of his hands, was swinging like a chicken with his elbows. And that didn't and wouldn't win him the title. It didn't. Mike Brown beat him for the second time in WEC. What's evaded Faber for his whole career, not the WEC title, not the King of the Cage, not ROTC. It's always been the UFC title. Featherweight, bantamweight. He's been a long-time champion in every other division, in every other organization except for the UFC. Now, Uriah's not getting any younger. He needs to get this done. He's already had his chance at UFC 149. He failed. His teammate, Joseph Benavidez, was knocked out in devastating fashion by Demetrius Johnson in their rematch on Fox. So, what can the California kid do? Please leave comments on what do you think. Who do you think is going to win the fight? I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Renan Barão, but Uriah Faber looks great. He looks fresh coming off his win from Michael McDonald. I think he looks amazing coming off of his win against Mike McDonald. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get cut. He didn't get lumped up, scratched. I think his striking was pinpoint. McDonald let him get off first, which allowed Faber to employ his game plan to go pinpoint, precision win, submission win. That squeeze that the Team Alpha Male has. It's like none other. It's incredible. Uriah Faber will kick off my top 10 best top 10 fighters of all time. I'm going to work in unique submissions, unique striking, and diverse striking, and innovation all in one.